The All NBA podcast is back, and we have a brand new co-host, Ray. Ray has been a good friend of mine for a while now, and we've pretty much debated on anything and everything you could debate on. You name it. Movies, music, video games, and especially sports. We love arguing over sports, so I thought it would be a great idea to bring Ray in as another host for the All NBA pod. And I have to say, guys, I think I should give myself the GM of the Year award because this was an extremely fun episode. We made our way too early playoff predictions. We pretty much go through every team in each conference. And we also have some really fun conversations about Jimmy Butler, Karl Anthony Towns, and Paul George and whether or not his feet are too small. So stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I had a lot of fun making it. And if you did enjoy it, please consider giving us a sub, rating, and review on the Apple Podcast app as well as Google Play. The All NBA podcast would really appreciate your guys' love. The more you do it, the better stuff we can bring you. And the better stuff we bring you, the happier you are. So make yourself happy, leave a rating, review, and a sub. Catch you on the other side. All right, so I hate to do this to you, Ray, but you're going to have to reintroduce yourself to the people. This is the second time we're doing this. The first episode, we had some technical difficulties. I never said I was a sound engineer, but I am picky about it. But here we are again. Introduce yourself to the people.
All right, my name is Ray, not Jay, but you could call me Ray. And I'm half black and Filipino. That's the most important thing.
That is the most important thing. Do you feel like I'm gonna ask this bluntly because I really because I do this. When you step on a basketball court, or do you feel like you gain credibility in certain areas because you're half black? Like, oh, I got more cred because I'm half black.
I think if they didn't know I was half black and thought I was full black, yes. But then when they see my curls, they were like, yeah, he's mixed.
Okay.
He's not touching his net.
Because I'll be honest, like when a half black guy comes on the court, I'm like, I already think he's got skill. Like, I'm like, oh, this guy can ball. But it doesn't always work out that way.
No, it definitely doesn't.
No,
I mean, you can dress the part, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. But, you know, it's okay to make judgments as long as they're not like racist, right?
It's not racist if it's a fact. That's what I live by.
Okay. All right, hey, did you see or hear about the Jimmy Butler news today?
I did not. What happened? What did he do?
So, you know, he requested a trade, right?
Most def.
Apparently, trade talks fell through. They couldn't get a trade done. So he went to practice and he just started yelling at the coaches. He was yelling at the GM. He said, this was a quote, "You effing need me. You can't win without me," to the GM. Then the starters were scrimmaging the third string, right? And the third string, there's not enough guys to have a full squad of third string guys. So there's a couple guys on the third string team that are still trying to make the team. So these guys are, for lack of a better word, not great NBA players.
Yeah.
Jimmy checks himself into the third string team and he beats the starters.
Wow.
He just, and then another thing is, Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy were paired up with each other on a possession, and Jimmy was defending him, talking hella trash. And you know what Cat did?
Nothing.
Passed the ball.
Of course he did.
I'm out on Cat. I'm out on him.
I agree. I mean, once if the rumors are true, I won't get too much into it. But then, yeah, you can't be called Cat and then be catting around. Or have another guy getting with your cat, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that is a rumor I heard. But even like in the playoffs, I was just really disappointed with how he played. And then hearing about his not so great relationship with Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jimmy may not have a ring. I understand that. But you got to hear the guy out because he has been in deep playoff situations.
Yeah.
Way more than you, at least.
Definitely.
And when you look at Jimmy Butler's history, I mean, this dude was homeless when he was 14. Then he got to college ball. Then he was a late draft pick. He worked his butt off, and now he's top 20 guy in the league. this guy is a dog. When you think of dogs in the league, there's not that many of them anymore. And even if they are, they're usually not all-stars. The way the NBA is now, it's a little more finesse. You think of Steph. No one's called Steph a dog. Like, oh, Steph is a dog. He's going to get it. Even though I think Steph's a top 5 player. Back in the day, in the 90s, AI was top 5. In the late 90s, early 2000s, you're like, he's a dog, right?
Yep.
AI, Shaq, he's a dog. It's not like that anymore. Jimmy is one of those guys who could fit in that era where he's just a dog. So I grew up in that era, and I loved and I idolized guys from that era. So I'm always going to be on that guy's side. Do you know what I mean?
Most definitely. And honestly, the reason why I think he is that dog, he looks like he could be Michael Jordan's son.
Yeah, he rocks the earrings, the loop earrings, just like MJ.
He looks like MJ with hair.
If Jimmy was from Chicago, this would be more of a conversation. But he's from Texas.
I'm pretty sure Michael Jordan has been to Texas. You ever heard of Texas Roadhouse? Yeah, they have great steaks.
There's one right down the street. I've never been.
Texas Roadhouse is awesome.
Really?
Yes.
Is it better than Outback?
I was about to say yes, but it caught me on that one. It depends. Depends on what you like.
Because I like Outback.
Outback's pretty good too. But I'm more of a Texas Roadhouse type person.
The Caesar salad at Outback, it's like one of the greatest Caesars.
Yeah, but
dressing.
can you throw peanuts on the floor? Come on now.
Oh, Texas Roadhouse is one of those places?
Yeah, she throw peanuts on, like, I don't even eat the peanuts. I just throw them on the floor at people.
One of my boys worked at a restaurant like that in Mississippi, and he was like, dude, it's the worst. I would never want to work there.
Well, yeah, Mississippi, yeah, shout out.
Shout out Mississippi. No NBA team in Mississippi, but there are NBA teams across the league, across the country, and today we are going to be doing our way too early playoff predictions. We're going to be going through the East and the West. This is how we're going to break it down. We're going to be going through our locks in each conference. Then the next tier is probably going to make it. We feel pretty good. Would we put money on it? We'd have to think about it, but we'd feel pretty safe about it. These are the teams that should make it. And then the next tier is might make it. We think they will, but there is potential that they miss it. And then the last tier, finally, definitely not going to make it, is the inverse of lock. These teams, no way in hell are they going to make it. We're going to be doing it through each conference. First, we're going to go through the East. Now, we have not seen each other's picks, so they're going to be completely surprised to each other. So yeah, let's start with the East. Here are my 3 locks in the East,
right,
which is less than I thought I would have in the East.
So you're letting everybody know you just have 3 locks, because it could have been like my first 3, but you just have 3 locks.
Well, we'll get to it when we get to the middle tier, because I have some thoughts on the East.
All right.
I think the East is the most sensitive conference because while the West is tougher, the East, I think they're in the same situation, but not because all the teams are good.
So are you calling the East kind of like Karl Anthony Towns, and then the West is kind of like Jimmy Butler?
No, I'm calling the East like a team that if you say something, yeah, you know what, they actually are like Cat. If you say something that hurts their feeling, they just fall off the cliff.
Or like, they pass the ball.
Yeah, or they pass the ball and just cat out of a situation.
I like that.
Okay, so here are my 3 locks. Number 1 lock, Celtics. There's no way these guys are making the playoffs, right? Even if there's an injury to any player, even Kyrie, they'd have to sustain multiple injuries across the board for them to miss the playoffs. They're too well coached. They have too much talent, and they have they have the type of talent that works in this era of the NBA. Yeah. Long, athletic, skilled guys.
Yeah.
That's the holy trinity, right? Long, athletic, and skilled. It used to be size, power, and skill.
Yep.
Right? It doesn't matter if you had long, but now it's length, skill, and athleticism. The Celtics, no way they're not going to make it. Do you have them as a lock as well?
I definitely have them as a lock.
Yeah, you should. I mean, they're a lock.
That's true. I would definitely bet my last dollar.
Now, one thing to note about the Celtics is around the trade deadline, what's going to happen, because they might not have minutes to go around. If Terry Rozier, I think they're going to keep Terry because he's on a great contract and all that. But, if a guy says, hey, I want to get more minutes somewhere else, and that could definitely happen with Terry Rozier, Marcus Morris. Is it Marcus or Markieff? I can never tell with those two. But
Morris. Just call him.
They could definitely request a trade. So that's one thing. But even I don't think that's gonna hurt them. If anything, it could help them now or in the future. They can get a vet who doesn't mind coming off the bench and playing 10 minutes a game, hitting 2 threes, or they could get an asset in the future. Like Terry Rozier, I'm sure he's worth a first-round draft pick to a mediocre team. So definitely Celtics a lock. My next lock, why don't you go ahead? What's your lock? Your next lock in the East?
Oh, definitely the Philadelphia 76ers.
That's who I had as well.
Lock.
Yeah, lock, right?
Like the door.
Now, Joel Embiid was in the news today. He just signed with Under Armour.
Nice, smart guy.
Yeah, I think that's great for Under Armour because I was just talking to my mom. We were in Tokyo with my mom, and there were 2 Under Armours in Tokyo. We went to both of them, and I told my mom, I go, can you believe that Under Armour doesn't have a location in San Francisco?
I didn't know that neither.
They don't. Nope. The only Under Armour in the Bay is in Vacaville.
Wow.
Which isn't the Bay. That's Sac.
Well, depends on who you ask.
People in Vacaville think they're in the Bay, but people in the Bay don't
think they're probably in like Nevada or something.
It's up there. So I'm like, why does Under Armour have a branch in the Bay when their number 1 guy is absolutely killing it? And they have a lot of good athletes, but Steph is their best athlete.
Wait a minute. Are you mean so
most popular?
That's the only store
in the Bay. Vacaville.
Is it in Vacaville?
It's an outlet.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Pretty good store.
Yeah, I mean
Under Armour there.
But if you want to buy Under Armour stuff in the Bay, like all these people come in to San Francisco for tourism, and they want terrorism. I said the way tourism is pronounced is like how Charles Barkley says terrorism. Terrorism. That's terrible terrorism. Anyways, if you're a tourist and you're in San Francisco, you want Under Armour stuff, you have to buy from a third party. So Under Armour's losing money in that.
Could be.
They're not getting as much as they could. Anyways, okay, so 76ers, a lock for the playoffs.
Definitely.
I agree with you. It's pretty much the same team they're running back. The core is the same at least. The role players are going to change a little bit, but even the key role players like JJ Redick are still on the team. TJ McConnell, who I think should get a little bit more minutes than he does, especially down the stretch in the playoffs, but these guys are definitely a lock.
I like him. And then Fultz.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Fultz.
His shot. You know what? I didn't get a chance to play 2K, but was he in 2K18?
Yeah.
Was he able to shoot?
Of course.
I didn't know that.
Because he was good to shoot in college.
Yeah, but I thought they did like one of those like weekly updates.
They do, but he didn't play in a game. They can't do weekly updates when the guy's injured in practice.
That is true.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's
what are they gonna? Oh, he didn't shoot well in practice. Let's put his stats down.
That'd be cool if they could just make him like you could put him out there, but all he could do is like dribble or just run picks. That'd be dope. 2K would be dope for that.
The 76ers. So Markelle Fultz. The thing about the 76ers is if they get Markelle Fultz to be even like 82 overall in 2K, I think they're in a really good spot because Markelle's big for his position. He's 6'4", but he really feels 6'6". I think he's listed 6'4". He's huge. He's already got a good core. His arms need to bulk up, but that always happens with guys as they get deeper in the league. Like if you look at Clay in his first year, he looks like a high schooler compared to what he is now.
Steph too.
Everyone. I mean, pretty much everyone except
everybody.
Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, he stayed the same.
And KD, even KD though.
Oh yeah.
But he's on the low end of that spectrum.
Yeah.
What do you think about Ben Simmons? Can he shoot?
I think you can teach somebody to shoot, especially in the NBA. Look at what they did with Kawhi. When Kawhi first came out, he wasn't known for his shooting. And now he's kind of like one of the purest shooters as far as like his mid-range is pretty good. And his threes as well.
Kawhi is definitely the shining example of it. Another guy, Chris Webber, he couldn't shoot free throws when he first came into the league. And then he was pretty solid, high 70s. So that's why I watch guys like DeAndre, and it's like, we shouldn't have changed the rules for these guys.
No, definitely not. No, not now, especially since, it's really a guard-driven league.
Right.
Now. more than likely.
You know, a lot of people think that Ben Simmons is shooting with his wrong hand.
Could be.
Because, you know, LeBron is like that. He writes with his left, shoots with his right. Simmons is like that too. His dominant hand in everyday life is different from his shooting hand.
Ben Simmons is super solid.
But he's still good.
I think if he gets a jump shot, it's a wrap.
Definitely. So, yeah, 76ers a lock for sure. Okay, so my next lock in the East is Toronto. Do you have them as a lock?
I definitely have them as a lock.
Yeah, so Toronto basically replaced DeMar DeRozan with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Who's better? Then they got rid of their head coach who took them to the number 1 seed.
Yep.
But they replaced him with a coach that was already on the coaching staff. But and here's the thing. I don't think firing Dwayne Casey was the wrong move. I'm just not sure the hiring of who they did hire is going to take them to the next level. Because if you remember, Dwayne Casey was the guy who shut down LeBron and the Heat in that finals when they lost to Dirk and the Mavs. So Dwayne Casey is a defensive-driven coach.
Yeah.
He did open up his offense last year, and it worked out for them. They got the number 1 seed. They played a really good offensive set. But Nick Nurse was really their offensive coordinator. Yeah. So Casey basically just let Nick Nurse take care of the offense while he took care of the defense, and it was perfect. I don't know why they had to fire Dwayne Casey because it's basically the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's definitely the same thing. Situations like that, especially if you're the GM or someone in, who's not the owner, you have to find a scapegoat. And Dwayne Casey was that scapegoat.
Why couldn't it be LeBron?
That's a good question.
Just blame. There's no shame in losing to one of the greatest players of all time. You know what I mean? Like, yes, LeBron owns you. You can't beat LeBron. But imagine if you just lost to Michael. What are you going to do? Blame everyone that you, knowing what we know now? Do we blame the Suns GM when they lost to Michael in the finals?
They actually had squad, though. The GM did his job. Players didn't do their job.
In Phoenix, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They had squad.
But they lost to Michael, the greatest player of all time. We're not going to blame him for that.
Yeah, but there's a difference between losing to the greatest player of all time and then losing to a LeBron.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's the greatest player in our generation.
I don't know. You ask Kobe Bryant about that.
Kobe definitely would have something to say about that.
Definitely Kobe would have something. He has that Jimmy Butler.
But a lot of people think he's the greatest player in this generation. LeBron.
And a lot of people think onions are good. Don't mean they're right.
You don't like onions?
I actually do like onions, but that was the first thing that popped into my head.
I love onions.
I actually do love onions too. Do you like Funyuns?
Of course.
See, there's a lot of people who don't like Funyuns. Don't mean
they're
that they're
crazy.
right or wrong.
They're psychopaths.
Yeah.
Or they're allergic to onions.
Yeah.
Whatever one. But I definitely think the Raptors are a lock. They, like we said, they replaced their best player with a better player, which is a rare thing.
Yeah.
They still have Kyle Lowry. I love their role players. Fred VanVleet, he was a little banged up last year. Solid backup point guard, stabilizes the offense. Kyle Lowry, if he could stay healthy throughout the whole season,
Yeah.
and I mean healthy, not just physically, but mentally as well, because it seems to be like in the playoffs, he kind of breaks down.
Yeah.
What other players in years past were like that, where in the playoffs they just froze?
LeBron.
Oh, okay. I could just, yeah, you can make the case for LeBron. Anyone else?
LeBron. I guess KD. He done it a couple of times.
I would more put that on the Thunder as a team, because we've seen KD be clutch in the playoffs.
That is true, but I also seen him disappear as well.
Because of the team. Has he ever disappeared with the Warriors?
No, but it's the Warriors though.
Yeah, it's a good team.
Exactly.
I don't think those Thunder team were good. They won a lot of games, but I never thought they were a threat to win the championship, except that one year when they played LeBron. I was like, maybe they get it done. And it might be different if in game 2, the refs called that foul. Maybe, they win that series, but I don't know. I never thought that Thunder team was really going to do anything significant, and history has proven me right. They didn't. What did they do?
That's crazy about that, because I remember when they lost, I was thinking like, they'll get another one. They're still all young.
That's what everyone thought.
Yeah. And then dun, dun, dun. Didn't happen.
They never came back.
Now the owner was like, "How much I'm paying them? Oh, too much."
Anyways, okay, so Raptors, Celtics, 76ers, those are my locks for the Eastern Conference. Do you have any more locks for the East?
Most definitely do.
How many more?
I have 3 more locks.
3 locks. So you have
Yes.
6 locks.
Yes, unlike the bad boy locks. Yes.
Okay, so go through your 3 other locks in the Eastern Conference.
So my 3 other locks is obviously the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
They're definitely making it. You can't have someone named the Greek Freak and not guarantee a playoff position.
Okay, the reason why I don't have them as a for sure lock is because what happens when or maybe if Giannis gets injured? They definitely can't make the playoffs. They're not a good enough team to sustain a Giannis injury.
So are you saying that if Kawhi's injury, he re-injures himself, and if Kyle Lowry can't stay focused, you still think the Raptors are a lock?
Okay, that's a double whammy.
Double whammy.
But I do think the Raptors would still barely make the playoffs if that happened. But with the Bucks, they added Brook Lopez, which I thought the Lakers should have kept him. I thought he would have been interesting with LeBron. Instead, we got JaVale McGee, 2-time NBA champion. But I think the Bucks, they're in my next year. They have a good chance, but I think if something bad happens to them, it could even be a Bledsoe injury. That way, the opposing defense, can just stack up on Giannis and really make, these other guys, the guy who replaced Bledsoe, if he does get injured, because Bledsoe does have an injury history, it could be as simple as that. Something very. I think they're a sensitive team. All these teams that are having a good chance tier, they have some weakness that if it happens, I think it could fall apart and they won't make the playoffs. Whereas the Celtics, like we talked about, they sustain an injury to any player, I think they still make it. Sixers, if Embiid gets injured, I think Simmons can carry them to a playoff berth.
He did. He carried on when Embiid went out.
Exactly. And the Raptors, I think the same way. Not as strong as the Sixers and Celtics, but I still think the Raptors can do it if Kyle gets injured or if Kawhi gets injured.
I think if Kyle gets injured, Raptors definitely with Kawhi. But if Kawhi gets injured, Danny Green, have to step it up.
They definitely don't want that to happen. Okay. Anything else you want to say about the Bucks?
Yes. Their mascot, that Buckhead, is very buff.
Very buff?
I just thought about it in my head right now.
Did you ever see that commercial with Brandon Jennings when Brandon Jennings was the best player on the Bucks? And they're driving in the RV with Mike Breen and Brandon Jennings. They're at night, and then all of a sudden they slam on the brakes, and it's the Buck in the headlights, the Buck mascot with the basketball, and then he just dribbles away. You ever see that one?
Possibly.
It's the funniest. It's so funny.
I'm heck of smirking over here because that is pretty funny. And Brandon Jennings used to ball with them for sure in 2K.
He dropped 55 on the Warriors. Rookie year.
Yeah, we were known for making people for sure back then. Like Bonzi Wells.
I thought Brandon Jennings was going to win Rookie of the Year. I had a bet with my English teacher that year. And when he dropped 55, I totally rubbed it in his face. It ended up being Tyreek Evans, I think, won the Rookie of the Year that year.
Well, yeah, over Steph, which is still obviously the biggest mistake ever.
In retrospect, definitely.
Yes.
Okay, what are your other locks?
And then my next lock is obviously the R&B singers team, Victor Oladipo, the Pacers. Definitely.
Pacers.
I think they're only going to get better. I know people are saying like, oh, they weren't supposed to make it last year. True, but they did. And when you have that type of team, they're definitely going to find some way somehow to make it to the playoffs. Unless Victor goes on tour.
Did you hear his album?
I did not. Is it good?
His album? I mean, I'm not an R&B guy. I can't tell, but it sounded good to me.
Oh, so you listened to it?
Yeah, I listened to it.
What'd you listen to this album? What were you doing?
I was driving home with another guy in the car.
That's the only way to listen to R&B.
With Nick. We were just playing ball, and he's like, you ever listen to Victor Oladipo's album? I was like, no, I haven't. So we turned it on, and I thought it was good. I can't tell.
Well, R&B is rhythm and blues for real brothers, so you got to listen to your boys.
Okay, so the Pacers are in my next tier. They have a good chance, but again, with the same thing with the Bucks. What happens? So I know I'm playing the cynical thing here, and I'm saying what happens if their star player gets injured. But here's another thing. the Pacers weren't supposed to make the playoffs last year. They snuck up on a lot of people because they play hard. They play solid schemes. They have a solid defensive scheme. They let Vic take the ball. And I think playing with Russ in a weird way helped him on the Pacers because he saw how to really run the team as a main ball handler. But they snuck up on a lot of teams, and they're not going to sneak up on guys this year. And I think it's going to be a lot harder for them to make the playoffs because they were a 5 seed. I could easily see them dropping down to a 7 and 8 seed. And when you get that low in the bracket, you know, it just takes a couple bad games to be outside looking in, and another team sneaks into your spot. So that's why I have them in a look. I still think they're going to make the playoffs, but I just think they're
not a lock.
They're not a lock to me. I wouldn't bet money on it.
But it's kind of hard to say you think they're going to make it, but then don't say they're a lock. Plus, I don't agree with the sneaking up on people in the NBA because you have 82 games. I mean, like by game 71, people were like, wait a minute, this team's for real.
Yeah, I wonder what their splits are like. Their record in the beginning of the season towards the end of it.
I think they got better at the end, huh? After the All-Star break.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
To go back to your point with Victor, like playing with Russ, I think he probably did get some dog in him, got some Jimmy Butler in him. And then I think that, as well as him not being the star on the team, kind of motivated him to be better. And because he lost a lot of weight, he got in like really good shape. Yeah. Probably for his tour. But I do think the Thunder situation motivated him to be better. And considering that like the Thunder didn't even try to keep him or anything like that. I think he was just motivated to prove people wrong.
Yeah, there's a small contingency of Russ haters out there in NBA Twitter world. And their case for hating Russ is like, look how good Vic is. Look how good he is. Russ, when he was playing with Russ, he wasn't this good. And I get that, but I also think playing with Russ made Vic better, like we're talking about. And I don't think if you were to run it back with Russ and Vic, and then Russ would be a better teammate, that Vic would be this good. Maybe, you know, obviously he had it in him somewhere, but I think Vic watching Russ do what he did that season made Vic a better player, just not a better teammate with Russ on the same team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's just, honestly, I think it's hard for other great players to play with Russ because I feel like he demands so much. Like, I think if Russ is taking the back seat, he's not Russ.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on Russ. Yeah. He is my second most polarizing player behind LeBron in the NBA.
Oh, man.
And by polarizing, I mean the difference between people who love him and people who hate him and the reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll get to that when we get to the Thunder. Okay, who else do you have as a lock? One more, right?
2 more.
2 more? Wait.
Oh, yeah, wait, one more.
One more,
you're right,
yeah.
You're right. Sorry.
Go ahead.
My contacts are dry. I would say the Miami Heat.
Okay, so the Miami Heat as a lock, really?
Yes.
Why do you have them as a lock?
I feel like that team is going to do it for Dwayne Wade.
Oh, you know what? I forgot about that.
Yeah. I know Dwayne Wade is definitely up in age. He's having his Kobe Bryant tour for sure. He gets one. Kobe gets one. Paul Pierce don't get one. But
he wanted one, though. Paul Pierce wanted one.
That's all. I was like the foot. They don't love you like that. You think you Kobe?
No, they don't love you. Wait, who said that again?
Draymond Green.
Draymond, that's right. I look, obviously I'm a Laker fan, so I have some animosity to the Celtics, but I like all the Celtics guys now. Like, I really like Marcus Smart. I like all these guys on their squad. But Paul Pierce, there's only one thing Paul Pierce ever did that I really enjoyed, and that was when he was with the Wizards, ironically. And Chris Broussard says, Paul, did you call game or did you call bank? And Paul Pierce goes, I called game. And I was like, in that moment, to come up with that comeback, props. But everything else you did, I just can't get behind.
I thought you were going to say I literally thought you were going to bring up the time when he pooped on himself and took the wheelchair. I thought that's what you're bringing up.
I don't even want to bring it up because that's like one of the worst moments in my life. I remember where I was, when I was young. I was young, and I remember thinking, look, guys, I was young. I remember thinking though, yes, he's hurt. He's not gonna be able to play. And then he came back and hit daggers in my heart. I can't forgive him.
I thought you were gonna say yes, he pooped on himself, so he can't play. I'm sorry, man. Sorry, but yes, definitely the Miami Heat. I think. I know I just said I don't believe in like sneaking up on people, but I think they might sneak up on people.
Yeah, I forgot about the Dwayne Wade thing. They can't miss the playoffs with Dwayne Wade on the squad in what is probably his final year.
Definitely his final year.
Yeah, they got a lot of dogs on their team. Like
they do.
One guy who is a dog that you wouldn't think is Dragic. That guy's feisty, man, but he is more of a finesse. His skill set is finesse, but his mentality is dog-like. He really gets after guys, and I watched it firsthand when he was with Phoenix. He's Slovenian. Sasha Vujacic, the machine, is Slovenian, and Sasha totally got owned by Dragic, just mentally, physically. I like Dragic. I like Winslow. I'm still waiting for the Winslow stock to come up.
Family matters.
Hassan Whiteside is a thorn in their backside because he could really mess up the chemistry. Yeah. But like you said, the Dwayne Wade final season thing, I think everyone's going to be on their best behavior. Everyone's going to be grinding. That team has no problem grinding because they have one of the most disciplined. They're one of the most disciplined franchise in the league. They always have their guys in shape. You never see a fat Miami Heat player. Probably because they're on the beach dancing with all the chicks from Cuba, but you know.
I think Pat Riley has a lot to say about that. But one person on the Heat that I really like, his name is Willie Johnson.
Oh no, his name is James Johnson.
Is James Johnson?
He's the black belt.
Yes. Oh, you can tell he puts fear in people's hearts, man. He's like the new Matt Barnes, but full black.
Okay, but see, the thing about Matt Barnes is he would let you know about it. James Johnson, he doesn't get in very much altercations because guys just know not to do it.
He looks like a Willie Johnson though, but it is James Johnson.
You're mixing. I think it's because Willie Cauley-Stein and James Johnson kind of have like a lot of tattoos up to their neck.
Yeah, but he's super gonna be solid.
I could see that. So
I can see him making it. He's gonna be good this year.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so I'm with you with the Heat. They're more of a lock than I made them out to be. But I have them in that second tier of good chance. So just to recap, for me, my locks in the East, Celtics, Sixers, Raptors. For you, same, except you have the Pacers, Bucks, and Heat, who are in my second tier, all of those three teams. But I have one more in my good chance to make it, which is probably going to make it, and that is the Washington Wizards. They got a lot of talent. They've made the playoffs the past however many years. But the reason why I have them in good chance and not lock territory is because one man. Can you guess who it is?
Yes.
Dwight Howard.
That's funny because I wasn't going to say Dwight Howard, but he is definitely on that team.
So not only is John Wall and Bradley Beal's chemistry already rocky, but every locker room that Dwight Howard goes to, it just seems to just fall apart. So there's that potential disaster there. Then there's the disaster of John Wall really can't stay healthy. Poor guy. I love John Wall. I love his game, but he's missed a lot of games over the years. What if that happens to him again? What is a Bradley Beal and Dwight Howard-led team going to look like? Look, there's potential for it to be a disaster. I think the most likely scenario for them is to be on the lower 6 to 8 seed, and that's going to be a disappointment for them considering how much talent they got on that squad. We're talking about Otto Porter Jr. Satoransky played very well with them. Being a 6 seed would be a disappointment to them. I think that's the most likely scenario, but I have them as a pretty much going to make the playoffs because the East is weak, and again, they have a lot of talent.
Guess what?
What?
I don't even have them making the playoffs.
What?
Yep.
What are your reasons?
A lot of the things you just named.
Yeah.
Most definitely, I think obviously something about Dwight Howard. I think he was the first cat in the league.
But he wasn't always.
But then you got to think about when he was in Orlando, you didn't really have anybody else. You didn't have a dog there to kind of be like, hey, what are you doing over there? Laughing and giggling.
You're right.
Are we losing? He was the man in there.
You know who that was, though? It was probably Stan who was doing that. And that's why he got fired. But he made the finals and he beat LeBron. And then he turned into this guy who wanted post-up touches. You know, he wasn't really like that in Orlando. But then when he went to LA and Houston, he wanted all these post-ups. And it's like, Dwight, you made it to the finals being the ultimate center. Grab rebounds, put back dunks, finish lobs, clean up the dirty work. You were like a superstar version, one of the best we've ever seen at that particular role. Now he wanted to ruin it because he wanted to be more like Hakeem.
No, I think he wanted to be just more likable.
People loved him, dude. He won the slam dunk contest.
Nate Robinson won the slam dunk contest. I don't think no one's out there like, I love Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson's dope though, by the way. But
did you see Uncle Drew?
I have not.
I love Nate Robinson.
He's in that movie?
Watch Uncle Drew. He's like the best character.
Nice. I gotta give me the movie pass like you. But I think obviously Dwight Howard going to the Washington, there's going to be some issues because I think Washington, they all are looking to make a push. And I don't know how serious Dwight Howard is taking that, to be honest. I mean, he's been on like 13 teams in the last 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So that's kind of bad. And then, unfortunately, John Wall can't stay healthy. And I think Bradley Beal is good, but, you know, I want to put my money on him.
Okay, so you don't have them making the playoffs.
I don't.
Okay. All right. So who do you have? So I already named my probably going to make it. Pacers, Wizards, Bucks, Heat. Who do you have in that tier?
So my probably, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think people are underestimating that team. I mean, they're basically getting everybody back, and they got the rookie. He seems pretty. Something about him, man. It just seems like he's willing to step up to the plate. I think he already called it. Like, no, I got this. I feel like he wants to be great, and if you want to be great, you go to Cleveland to do you gotta do the bare minimum, and you're great.
Yeah, I really like Colin Sexton too. I saw him in college play 3-on-5 basketball, and they were in that game way longer than they should have been, up to pretty much the very end with only 3 guys on the floor. And Colin Sexton was getting triple team. I mean, that was amazing. I do like him, and you're right. They pretty much bring back everyone minus the greatest player in the league, LeBron. But yeah, there is a formula here where they could make the playoffs. I have them in the might, but look, I'm not sure there might be some alpha dog problems there. Like, is Kevin Love going to step up and be like, I'm the number 1 offensive option now? Because to me, I think playing with LeBron kind of like ruined him in a lot of ways. Yeah. He hasn't been down low in a while. You know, he's been out there shooting threes, which he does well, but now they're going to need a guy to go score in the paint because LeBron had so many paint points. And then mentally, I don't know if Kevin Love's checked in. You know, there's a lot of talk about his mental health issues, and he talks about it a lot. And shout out to him for talking about it. I think it's important to talk about it. But what if he's losing love for the game of basketball? I don't know this. I don't know the guy. But what if he's kind of checked out? And if he is not checked out and he's checked in, how motivated is he going to be? Because he's been standing in the corner for the past 3-4 years now. Is he going to go get the ball?
It made me smile when you said love is losing love. That's weird.
Yeah, love needs more love, man.
But I think he would be rejuvenated, and I think he'll start playing like how he was back in Minnesota. He was definitely the star in Minnesota. He was the man. He was doing it big. He was like, I was gonna say Tristan Thompson, but that was just a joke. But I think obviously if you're playing with LeBron James, you can't live in the paint because LeBron wants you to get the hell out the paint because he's about to be driving in there. So what do you go do when you play LeBron? You go wait in the corner.
Yeah, but Kevin Love had a different body in Minnesota, and he slimmed down when he came to Cleveland. So can he put back that weight? Is he gonna put back that weight? I just have some concerns. And let me ask you, last shot of the game, who's taking it on Cleveland?
Oh, the rookie.
Colin Sexton.
The rookie. The hair.
Okay, if he's ready, if he turns out to be Donovan Mitchell 2.0, their games are a little bit different, but if he turns out to have the same effect where he could really carry the offensive load on that team, then that's great. But if he can't and he's inefficient, can't shoot, that's a question mark with Colin Sexton. It's looked good in Summer League. It's looked decent in the preseason. But that is a question mark if he can consistently shoot and be a threat that's why I have them in the might make it. I have them in that last tier of teams that might make the playoffs because I just have questions of their execution down the stretch because LeBron did so much. Yeah. And I think Tyronn Lue has his work cut out for him because he doesn't have LeBron anymore. And we could make all the jokes we want to about who really was the coach of that team, but we're really going to see if those jokes paid off this season, and we're going to see if Tyronn Lue can really put these guys in the position to win games.
I definitely think the Cavs are going to be way better than people are giving them credit for because there's so many people who have a lot to prove. One, their head coach definitely have a lot to prove. Their owner has a lot to prove. I don't know if that means that's saying like Kevin Love has a lot to prove. And I feel like the rookie has, I think he has it in him, man. You have to if you have hair like that.
I'm excited to see Omri Caspi play. Or not Omri Caspi. Sorry, I'm blanking out on his name. That Turkish kid that whenever LeBron did something crazy, he was like the first guy off the bench. Oh, yeah,
he had the cool hair and stuff like that.
He's got the bouncy hair. He's fun to watch. Yeah. I'm blanking out on his name, but he's so fun to watch. And I think also, too, I was thinking about this today. I think Larry Nance Jr., Jordan Clarkson, I think they have a lot to prove, too, because you think about it, they're human, and they have to obviously have figured it out that LeBron got them off the Lakers, so they won't be there when he gets there. And that has to rub them the wrong way because they're pretty talented guys. Jordan played really rough in the playoffs, but I do think he has a place in this league. Mm. That playoff run, and especially that finals run, he just wasn't ready for it. No, and I'm not necessarily going to put it on him. Yeah, he took a lot of bad shots, but I'm not going to totally put it. It was his first finals. He'd been with the Lakers who just kept losing, and now he's on a team that's in the finals. I mean, it's a different way to play. Playing with LeBron, as we know in years past, is sometimes really easy for guys, but for other guys, it's really hard to play with LeBron, and I think Jordan was one of those guys. And I do love Larry Nance. I was really sad to see him go off the Lakers, but if it means we get LeBron, then I guess it's okay.
Yeah, LeBron was in general manager mode on 2K for sure.
Oh, he definitely general manager mode on 2K. But Larry Nance, there's a little clog there with Tristan. They're paying him $80 million, and Kevin Love. I wonder if Larry's gonna get minutes. If I were Tyronn Lue, I'd phase Tristan Thompson out a little bit and play Larry Nance more, but I'm not so sure. Tyronn Lue seems like a guy who's going to play his vets, guys who have been through a war with him. And Tristan Thompson, I mean, he was on that championship team.
He has something to prove as well.
Yeah, but not to the NBA, to his wife or soon-to-be wife, his baby mama.
I think that team, I think they're going to do good. I think people aren't giving them human beings enough credit. They're giving LeBron too much credit for everything. He's not Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I think they could make the playoffs because, again, it doesn't take much to make the playoffs in the East.
Yeah, you go 20 and 62, you still make it.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
All right, who else do you have in your probably going to make it?
So probably going to make it. You know what? I have them as making it. I think the Detroit Pistons are going to make the playoffs.
Okay, this I also had as a might make it.
Yeah, they're not my might. I think they're going to make the playoffs. Well, I guess that would mean that they would be my lock. So I guess I'll stick with the might. They might make it. I think if Blake and Drummond start the season off together, I mean I think they took last season to kind of like figure each other out, get some chemistry. See them doing pretty good.
Yeah. So their new coach is Dwayne Casey, the old Raptors coach. Yeah. So I think
they're a lot more disciplined. There's a lot more discipline going on.
Yeah, I think they could make the playoffs, but one thing that's interesting, you talk about how last year Drummond and Griffin kind of took that year, half a year to really figure each other out. It's not even half a year, half a season.
Yeah.
That could happen with the coach. And the coach could try, they could get off to a slow start. Mm-hmm. This is why I have them in the mind, because they could get off to the slow start and they do have the talent to recover and figure it out. But they also have a lot of guys on the team that I don't think are ready to get off to a slow start, and they kind of get down on each other, like Griffin, like Drummond, and especially Reggie Jackson. Let's say they start the season really rough, really rough. I'm not going to throw a number out there. We're just going to use our imagination. Starts out the season really rough. Does that team have enough resolve to bounce back and go on a run? Because when you get yourself into a hole like that, you're going to need a run or two of good basketball to get yourself out of that hole and back into the playoff conversation, because I think the Pistons are a 6 to 8 seed. I don't see them getting 5 or 4, anything above that. So they are a lower team playoff. And when you're fighting for position in that lower bracket, it only takes a couple bad games, 2 losses in a row, and you're out. And you have to win those games back. So that's why I have them in the might, because I don't think they have enough smart players. Reggie Jackson isn't a guy who's really going to get his bigs involved. He's going to get his, and he'll hit the open man. But it's not like Chris Paul. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you may think the players don't have it, but I think the coach for sure. I think give him some time, he'll definitely make them a playoff contender for sure.
And another reason why I'm not so hot on the Pistons is because no one watches their games. Like, if you look at their games, the Little Caesars Arena, shout out to Little Caesars.
That sounds good right now.
The Little Caesars Arena is not popping, bro.
Yeah.
No one goes there. Downtown Detroit, no one goes there.
We're not going to go there if there's nothing to root for.
I mean, they just traded for, like, Blake Griffin.
That was the reason why they traded, so to get people in seats.
Yeah,
but winning cures everything.
You're right. Okay, so who else do you have and you're probably going to make it?
Well, the probably is after the Cavs and the Pistons was the Wizards.
Right. Okay.
And then the Knicks.
You think the Knicks are going to make the playoffs?
I think the Knicks are going to make the playoffs.
Okay, so I have them as a might. So surprise, and I think that's a surprise to some people.
Yeah.
I think the Knicks, there is a pathway for them to make it. However, I think as a franchise, they might think it's in their best interest to tank. And Kristaps, they might just Kawhi Leonard him this year.
Ooh.
And just kind of sit him out, or he might Kawhi Leonard the situation, because him and the Knicks, it isn't a rosy relationship. There's been some turbulent things in the past, and it seems like they got rid of Carmelo, all that would be resolved. But, we don't know. If Kristaps comes back, I think they have a solid shot because Kevin Knox looks that good. I really like Frankie Ntilikina, the French guy. And I think they got a couple solid role players, so I do agree with you. I think there's a chance to make the playoffs, but the reason why I have them in the might, and they're in the lower end of my might make the playoffs, is because Kristaps might not be back. It's that simple.
Really?
And their coach, I like their coach, David Fizdale. I think not only is he a good coach on the court, but off the court, I think he can handle the New York media, because that's the thing. When you're coaching in New York, you got to handle the media.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, Fizdale definitely doesn't give a damn what you think. No. Not saying you in general, not JAHRONMON.
Specifically me.
Yeah, I know I was looking at you when I said that, but I think he's gonna whip them in shape for sure. I was kind of sad that not sad, but it sucked that the Memphis Grizzlies let them go like that.
Yeah, it definitely sucked. But going back to my tanking, niche that I think the Knicks are going to want to tank is because this next draft class is really, 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 really good. And if they get a top 5 pick, they're going to be pretty well set up. And if they really want to get KD, which there's been some rumors flying about that, there were rumors about Kyrie as well, but Kyrie kind of squashed those rumors by saying he's going to re-sign with them if he'll have them.
Oh, that's not up to Kyrie.
It's not up to
Kyrie. We know
Kyrie.
who runs that team.
Yeah, but KD, if KD goes to the Knicks, the best chance for the Knicks to get KD is like, hey, we just got Zion Williamson from Duke. Like him, Kristaps, Kevin Knox, and you. Those are 4 solid dudes. Come join us. But I could also see KD making it like, hey, that team made the playoffs. I could push them over the edge. So I think it's a win-win for them if they tank or if they win. That's a weird thing. It's win-win if they lose or win.
That is pretty weird.
But I do think it's true.
I don't think Zion is attracting KD to go to New York. I think New York would be the reason why KD goes to New York.
Right. And his agent is from New York. And he's got ties with Jay-Z. And we know KD likes Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's leaving.
I'm not too sure.
And you're a Warriors fan saying that.
I'm a Warriors fan. It's up in the air. I think there's a good chance he might leave.
Okay, we'll get into that. That's a podcast for that's a whole podcast on its own.
Is.
Okay, so just to reset. What are your good probably going to make the playoffs? Just name them all.
Okay, so you just want my just 1 through 8?
No, you're probably going to make the. So you have the locks and the probablys. So name those guys. So I had the Pacers, Wizards, Bucks, and Heat as probably going to make it.
I had the Cavs, Pistons, Wizards, and Knicks.
Okay. All right. So one team that I didn't mention in my might make the playoffs are the Hornets.
Ooh.
Because I really like their rookie Miles Bridges. I want to see what the coach Borrega does. He's from the Spurs system. They got Tony Parker to kind of stabilize the second unit. Hopefully Nick Batum is healthy. Kemba Walker is, I think, entering a contract year, and I love Kemba.
Me too.
So we're going to see how that plays out. I think they could sneak into the playoffs. I think if they do make the playoffs, they'll sneak in 7th, 8th, tops. But I just wanted to mention them really quick. Now let's go on to the teams that definitely won't make the playoffs.
Awesome.
I think this is easy. Magic, Hawks, Bulls, Nets. These teams are not making the playoffs. There is no way. I don't see the only team I would pick, maybe making the playoffs out of those 4 are the Nets because they got a lot of shooters, but everything else about them is awful. The Bulls can't play defense. The Hawks are awful. They got guys who shouldn't be in the league. The Magic still don't have a point guard. Those are teams not making the playoffs. Please tell me you have those teams as well.
I have those teams, but I can't help but think you got way too excited announcing that.
They're awful. I really like watching awful teams because I hate watch them. Like, they're so bad. Like, how the Magic have not found a point guard in the past, what seems like 10 years. Their last point guard, their last good point guard was Jameer Nelson, bro. That was in 09.
Dang.
09, that was their last good point guard. If you want to call Elfrid Payton a good point guard, be my guest. He's bouncing around the league now. The Magic have no shot. I think the Hawks will be fun to watch on League Pass because Trae Young, he just hit a game winner tonight.
Nice.
From basically half court.
He's trying too hard to be Steph Curry. Too hard.
But if it works out for him, I mean, that's good.
Him doing so, it has worked out well, but too hard.
Yeah, he is trying. It's a little, imitation is the highest form of flattery.
That is true.
I'm buying Trae Young stock simply because it's so people are selling it. I'm buying it.
That, and plus, I think he ended up in the perfect situation going to the Hawks. No one there to challenge him. I feel like they drafted him or they got him so that he can do the Steph Curry thing and start that'll put butts in the seats. It's still a business, and like you said, you could sell that. You could promote that.
Yeah, and I think if he turns out to be great and he's in Atlanta, I think he's a good personality to have in Atlanta.
Definitely.
Imagine if Steph was in Atlanta, with Migos and everything. It would be because Atlanta's already the culture center of America. They're on top of everything. All the kids, all the stuff they're wearing, all they're listening to came from Atlanta. It started in Atlanta.
Yeah, and also The Walking Dead too.
I quit The Walking Dead before Trae Young was born, probably. Okay, so any more thoughts on these teams that won't make it? Magic, Hawks, Bulls, Nets.
Yes, just hearing you talk about it makes me laugh. But I feel the same way. Those teams, and if any one of those teams would be the Nets.
Yeah,
I think the snitch he can carry them to the playoffs.
I would hate nothing more than D'Angelo Russell carrying the Brooklyn Nets to the playoffs, but I have to agree with you. There is a slight chance that could happen because he does have skill. As a Laker fan, I have to hate on him.
Yeah, well, as a male, I have to.
Yeah, period. That too.
But he can ball though.
Yeah, he definitely has his moments, unless he's saying ice in his veins for beating a lottery team at the buzzer. Anyways, don't get me started on D'Angelo Russell. Okay, so quick recap of the East. Here are my 8 teams that I think is going to happen because we listed more than 8 teams that will make the playoffs. But here's, at the end of the day, gun to my head, the 8 teams I'm going with are Celtics, Sixers, Raptors, Pacers, Bucks, Heat. That is 6 right there. And then I'm going to throw in the Wizards and the Pistons. Those are my 8 teams, gun to my head, are going to make the playoffs. What about you?
I got the Celtics, 76ers, Raptors, Bucks, Pacers, Heat, Cavs, Pistons.
Okay, so the only team we disagree on is the Wizards.
Yeah.
You have the Knicks instead of the Wizards.
No, I have the Cavs.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, the Cavs. Yeah. The Cavs instead of the Wizards. All right. So there you go. That was our Eastern Conference predictions. Let's move over to the West. Now, I have 4 locks for the West, and I'm going to name them because I think there's not a whole lot to talk about here, but Warriors, Rockets, Thunder, Lakers, those are my locks in the West. Do you agree?
Yes, but I have more than you. Again.
You have more than me, but those 4 you do have.
I do have.
Okay. A lot of people don't think the Lakers are a lock. They think they will probably make it, but as terms of a lock, like definitely going to make it. I bet my dog's life that they're going to make it. A lot of people don't have that, and I think it's confusing. They have LeBron.
Don't do that to Esteban.
I won't do it. Esteban, I'll never do that to you.
Okay, well, you just said it.
Well, I'm just saying other people. Other people. Him. I would bet my dog's life on it because I think they're going to lock.
I bet my dog, Brian.
LeBron has not missed the playoffs except for 1 year in his career, and that was his rookie year. So I think those 3 teams are, or 4 teams are definitely locked. No debate whatsoever there. So who are your other locks in the West?
My other locks are, man, that's crazy. Man, I have the Utah Jazz.
Okay.
As a lock.
Okay.
Did you say the Thunder?
Yep, I said the Thunder. Spurs and Jazz are your other locks. So you have 6 locks.
6 locks.
Okay, so I have them as a good shot, and I think they have a really, really good shot.
Who?
The reason why
the Spurs
and Jazz.
Okay.
But the reason why the Spurs aren't a lock for me is because DeJounte Murray just had an injury.
I saw that, yeah.
And I'm not sure what their guard rotation is. It's really light. Patty Mills, Marco Bellinelli, and Derek White, I think, who people loved in Salt Lake. But look, I think the Spurs are going to make it. I would bet the over on them just because Popovich. I respect the Spurs too much. And they replaced Kawhi Leonard, who didn't play last year, all for like 8 games, with an all-NBA guard.
Yeah.
So that's good. They're gaining a player, essentially, because Kawhi didn't play, and they made the playoffs last year. So why wouldn't they make the playoffs this year? Well, I think there's a little bit of bad luck there. They've been cursed ever since Tim Duncan has retired. And I think there is a slight, very slight possibility they don't make the playoffs. But again, I do have them as a strong possibility. And the Jazz, much of the same reasons why. I think they're very similar. I think they're the Pacers of the West.
Ooh.
Where they play hard. They're a really tough team to beat every night. But I think last year they snuck up on people, and I have the same feelings like I mentioned when we talked about the Pacers, where they're not going to sneak up on people. It might be harder for them to win games, but I do really like their squad, and I really like their rookie, Grayson Allen. I think he's going to be a great role player right out of the gate.
You and Grayson Allen have like the same shape heads.
I have to look at his head, but I could see it.
I can see. I'm looking at you right now, and I can see it.
I don't trip people though.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're not about that. You play fair and hard.
I actually would call someone out for tripping me.
Yeah, I think I have seen you do that.
I call people out for even stuff they don't even do sometimes.
Like, did you sneeze on me?
Did you call foul?
You lucky I don't call fouls.
You lucky I don't call fouls. Exactly. They're a team that they're a little they're not unstable, but one thing could crack them. Like if Ricky Rubio gets hurt, Donovan Mitchell gets hurt, Derek Favors, Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert has gotten hurt. You know, could they still make the playoffs?
I think it's just a matter of for health for them.
Okay.
Because I actually think they're going to be higher than a lot of people are giving them credit for.
Okay, so you have them as a lock. Where do you have them? As what seed?
The 3rd seed.
3rd?
Yep.
Who are your top 3?
Top 3.
Warriors,
Lakers, and Jazz. Yep.
Wow. I hope you're right because I really like Donovan Mitchell.
I'm telling you, that boy can go.
He's like Jimmy Butler, kind of.
You're a smaller, quicker version. You're right. And they got the same kind of hair too.
They're just guys who are like, I want to win tonight. Like in anything, you know, like if you play pop-up shop with them at Dave & Buster's, they're like, I want to win this, you know? And it's always great to have those guys on the squad. And Grayson Allen is like that as well.
He is. He's had obviously some issues and stuff, but yeah, man, I think I think they're gonna be tough.
The only NBA logo that I saw in Japan was a Jazz hat.
That's crazy.
I didn't understand it.
Was Karl Malone out there?
No.
I can see him being in Japan just because it's like a Wednesday.
Really?
He seems like it.
He's too busy with the NRA, bro.
Could be.
Okay, so I have the Jazz and the Spurs and the probably going to make it, and they're super strong possibilities. I think the probably going to make it in the West, they're like really close to lock territory. The only team that I have that we didn't mention are the Nuggets. Where do you have them on your list?
I had the Nuggets not as like a probably because of Paul Millsap. I'm confused.
Right.
Because of Paul Millsap, if he can stay healthy, then definitely. However, I end up replacing them with a different team.
Okay, so let me just say the Nuggets are probably going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
they just missed it. I think they're going to take Minnesota's spot. They got better. Nikola Jokic is going into a good season.
Yes.
Jamal Murray's better this year.
Yep.
Gary Harris, Will Barton. But again, Paul Millsap, health issues. And they also have Isaiah Thomas, a wild card that could work out for them, that could not work out for them.
I hope it works out for him.
Me too. I love watching Isaiah when he was on fire. I loved every second of it. I thought they should have gave him a shoe because a lot of people would have bought it because he's the people's champ.
Just thought about something.
What?
So if someone of that size come out with a shoe,
Yeah.
is it okay for them to make bigger sizes?
I just read this. I don't know if it's true, but I read this. He has the same shoe size as Paul George.
I believe it.
Size 12.
I believe it.
So
He's what, 5'8"?
8.
Oh, he's my height.
5'8", 5'9".
And Paul George was a size 12?
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Wait, so Paul George has small feet or Isaiah Thomas has big feet?
Paul George has small feet.
Yeah, I think so. Because he's like 6'8".
Yes. And he wears 12s. I wear 11s and I'm 5'8". And I don't even play in the NBA and I'm half black.
Clay is 15 and he's a little shorter than Paul.
Wait a minute. So what you're not sure about if Isaiah has?
Well, I was just trying to figure it out. I mean, I didn't think of it too hard. I thought, wow, they have the same size feet. That's interesting.
This is like breaking news. Like I had no clue.
Yeah.
That's probably why he stayed with Oklahoma.
Because he has small feet?
Yeah.
I don't want Brown to see my small feet, man. I'm going to stay in OKC. They don't care. They wear boots here anyways.
That's crazy. I'm definitely Googling it.
Yeah, I would like to know more. I would like to get that confirmed. I need to send a letter to the president. Can you confirm this for me?
I would definitely. That would be the first thing I would ask Paul George if I ever saw him in person. And you know me, I'll literally what I ask because I have no shame. I would definitely. Would I ask him or would I just look at like
you would look? You would look first.
I'm because you're laughing. Yeah,
you're pretty good at, looking at something and seeing if your assumptions were right about it.
I think that has to be fact. If someone that'd be a terrible rumor to spread about someone who's 6'8" that they wear size.
You know
12.
what? I have someone I can ask. I will ask what Paul George's shoe. I can't even talk because I'm so flustered by the fact shoe size is. He will know. He works in OKC. I will ask him and I will let you know and I'll update you on the next episode of the All NBA podcast with Ray and Jay. Or Jay and Ray. Excuse me. We don't like Ray J.
Yeah. Jay and Ray.
Okay, so just to refresh, Warriors, Rockets, Thunders, Lakers, locks. For you, same teams, add the Spurs and the Jazz. Yep. For me, I have the Spurs, Jazz, Nuggets as probably going to make it. Let's move on to the next tier of might make it. Now, I already named 7 teams that I think will make the playoffs with 4 locks. My might make it, I have 4 teams that are fighting for that last playoff spot. I think it's going to get really interesting, especially towards the end of the year. Definitely. I think throughout the whole season, it's going to be like who's in the A seed. Usually only towards the end of the season where people are jockeying for position. Yep. I think the whole season, it's going to be awesome to watch the last 2 seeds of the Western Conference play out. Here are my 4 teams, and I think we could break it down all together. Portland, New Orleans, the Grizzlies, and the Mavs. I think all the 4 teams have a shot at the playoffs. And I think I'm up on the Grizzlies and the Mavs, and I'm down on the Pelicans and Portland because let's start with Portland.
Go ahead.
If you have to trade Dame or CJ, who are you trading?
I think if you have to trade one, you trade Dame. Only because I feel like Dame wants more out of Portland than Portland wants out of Dame. As in like I feel like he wants to be there more than they want him to be there. But I feel like their guy would be CJ because of the podcast alone.
I would trade CJ. I think Dame's better, but I get what you're saying there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dame's definitely way better.
Dame has not missed the playoffs ever. Did you know that?
There's a lot of things I'm finding out tonight.
That's pretty good to not ever miss the playoffs coming in as a rookie. And he came into a pretty good situation. He had LaMarcus Aldridge. But look, LeBron missed the playoffs once in the East. So that's why I'm still salvaging some respect for Portland as might make the playoffs. But I think this year is the year. I think the way they went out last year was bad. I think that it's going to be weird. They might trade Dame or CJ.
Yeah.
That's going to mess things up. We're going to wait to see what it plays out. But I think if they play just as hard as they did last year, they're going to make the playoffs.
I think they're definitely going to end up trading Dame.
Really?
I definitely do.
I would love nothing more than Dame to come to LA. He's my favorite player in the league.
I don't want him to go to LA.
I think he'd be good with LeBron.
I don't think he could play with LeBron.
Why not?
I feel like he wants to be the man. You can't be the man when you have a man that wants to be the man.
But I also think Dame is a guy who recognizes who the alpha is in the room.
Well, didn't he mention that before too in an interview?
What did he say?
That he'll be okay playing with like LeBron.
I don't know if he did that, but I could see it. I think Dame wants to be the alpha in the room, but I also think he's, aware enough to be like, hey, I'm in the same room with LeBron. He's the guy. And I think he has a lot of respect for his peers, including LeBron. So I think he'd be good. He's not as good as Kyrie, but he'd play a similar role where he just like kind of comes in and takes offensive possessions away from LeBron a little bit so LeBron could rest and hit big shots and big moments.
Yeah.
I would like nothing more than Dame to come to LA. And he loves LA. He would want to play in LA.
Well, he's from the Bay, but I think the whole Warrior thing got him kind of upset.
Salty.
Yeah.
Okay. Pelicans, what do you think about them?
They're part of my might as well.
Yeah.
I think we have similar. I think the only difference we have is the Grizz.
You don't have the Grizzlies.
No.
Okay, so here's my case for the Grizzlies. Last year they were awful, but Mike Conley and Gasol didn't play. And
Gasol played.
Yeah, he did play, but not the whole season. And he was also checked out towards the end. But he did play, you're right.
Yeah.
Conley didn't play.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, you're right. I remember saying last year, hey, if they tank and they get a good player, I think they could make the playoffs next year. And they got a good player. Jaren Jackson Jr. looks really good. He fits with the Gasol and Conley core. And I think they got a lot of good role players. Dylan Brooks, solid. I think they have a shot. They got Kyle Anderson from San Antonio. That's another wing they could throw out there. I think they're solid. I think they have a shot at making the playoffs. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I could definitely see the pathway. That's why I have them in the might. I don't think there's no chance that they don't make the playoffs. That's why I have them in this tier. But you have them as a no chance.
I have them as a no chance.
How come?
I think I'm probably a little bit bitter what they did to Fizdale, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, even then, I think if they would have had Conley last year, I don't think they were making the playoffs anyways. I think their time has gone and passed.
Maybe.
I think because the Grizzly left, and the Grizzly name is Zach Randolph.
Well, you're right. I thought you were gonna say Fizdale, but you said Zach Randolph. You're right. Zach Randolph is the Grizzly.
Yeah,
green grind.
Yeah, he definitely was the bully on that team for sure.
So you have the Mavs in the might.
I do have the Mavs in the might. I like the Mavs.
I do too.
And especially since they finally got, DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, they finally got DeAndre Jordan.
That's all weird. I couldn't help. I think I was laughing for like 19 minutes. I was like, really?
Yeah.
After
so
all that, really?
this is why I have the Mavs in the might. They're 5 guys, right? The 5 guys at the end of the game and probably to start the game. Dennis Smith Jr.
Yep.
Luka Doncic.
Yep.
Wesley Matthews.
2% body fat. Yep.
Harrison Barnes.
Yep.
And DeAndre Jordan. That's a good 5.
You ain't putting Dirk in there at the end of the game?
He's coming off the bench at the end of No, I think he's going to play 15 to 19 minutes a game, and he's not going to end it unless he has a good matchup, which isn't going to come around very often for Dirk. Have you seen him run lately? It looks like it hurts.
Yeah, but have you seen him shoot?
Yeah, but look, I think Rick Carlisle is a good coach, and I think Dirk is such a good teammate that the best 5 guys to have out on the floor at the end of the game in this era of the NBA are those guys that I just named.
That is true. I guess it has to be situational for sure.
Definitely situational. You could definitely throw Dirk out there against some teams.
Yeah.
But let's say they play the Lakers, and the Lakers go with Bron, Kuz, Ball, Ingram, and Josh Hart. Dirk can't keep up with any of those guys.
That is true.
So who are you going to throw out there if you're Dallas? The 5 guys I named. And I think it's a solid 5. I think Luka's fine. Wesley's awesome role player. The less he has the ball in his hands, the better. Which now that he has Luka and Dennis Smith in there, he won't be. He'll be a catch and shoot, play defense kind of guy. Harrison Barnes, we know, is the similar situation, not as severe as Wesley, but the less he has the ball, the better. He could play off guys well. He has played the 4 for the Warriors in big games, even though he kind of disappeared in those big games. But that's
another person I forgot to mention when you asked that earlier.
Oh yeah, the cat thing.
Yes.
But look, I like Harrison Barnes. And then, of course, DeAndre Jordan protecting the rim, which allows you to play smaller at those 4 positions, which they're going to have to do if they put Barnes at the 4 or Wesley at the 4 or whatever. I think the biggest thing, though, is really Dennis Smith Jr. Can he make the next step, or will he have a sophomore slump? If he takes the next step, I think they're going to have a really good chance to make the playoffs.
I hope he makes the next step, too. He's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And they also have great role players like Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell, JJ Barea, nice guy who comes in, does his thing in the second unit, just plays solid, doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't do stupid things. So, yeah, I like the Mavs, and I'm surprised more people aren't kind of buying Mavs stock.
Yeah.
Because you could buy it for pretty cheap. I'm talking like there's an actual stock market you could do this for. But
really?
I wish there was.
I was about to say, because I'll definitely buy some of that.
Maybe that should be fantasy basketball instead of the current setup, where you could buy stock for players or teams, and it changes, and let's see who made the most money.
I think because everybody obviously picked like the Warriors and Celtics.
Yeah, but that would be premium. You'd have to spend so much money.
All you need is one.
Yeah, true. Okay, so let's move on to the no way in hell these teams are making the playoffs. Ray's favorite segment.
That's your favorite segment.
Here are the teams. There's one team that I'm not so sure about, but the Kings, the Suns, the Clippers, and then I have the Wolves. Now, the Wolves are there contingent that they trade Jimmy. If they trade Jimmy, they're not making the playoffs. If they keep Jimmy, I put them in the might make the playoffs. But the Kings, hell no. And I actually like a lot of players on the Kings, but they're not making it. They were playing Marvin Bagley at the 3. What are they doing? Rays can't contain himself.
You gotta do more of these Kings.
The Suns, I think they're 2 years away from being 2 years away. They're young. The Clippers, I'm a Laker fan. I'm just born to hate the Clippers. I think they're closer to the might than the Kings and the Suns. But I just don't think they're going to make the playoffs because, again, the West is so stacked. Are the Clippers and their conference or their division, which divisions are stupid in the NBA, but they play those teams 4 times a year. Warriors and the Lakers are in that division. So that's, 8 games. How many of those games are the Clippers going to win realistically? Maybe 2, one on each squad.
I see them sneaking,
That's
on a Wednesday.
That's not going to happen. So
I can see
on a Wednesday. They have no home court advantage. I just don't see them making it. Do you have all these teams as well?
The Def Not, like I said earlier, the Grizz and then the Clippers and the Kings.
Clippers and the Kings, but you have the Wolves and the Might.
No, I have them as I ain't worried about the Wolves.
You think? Okay,
they're just floating.
So,
well, I guess they have a chance, but
okay, even without Jimmy,
yeah. I mean, even though I think they
stand a
only
chance.
because their coach, I like him. I can't understand him, but yeah, he's pretty dope.
But Wiggins and Cat are out there just looking like
I think
they're
Derrick
not
Rose
ready
is
for
ready.
it. Oh, you know
Derrick
what?
Rose,
If there was that fantasy league, I would be buying Derrick Rose stock because I think he's going to turn a nice profit this season. I really do.
I mean, 'cause I think a lot of people question like his passion, but with that type of injury and still continue to play, gotta be passionate about the game or at least the paycheck.
He just talked about this. He's like, I had multiple knee surgeries before I was however old.
Yeah.
Most guys would quit. And I thought about it. I was like, you're right. Most guys would quit. A lot of guys have
he
quit.
made a lot of money. So
And that's not bad to quit because your knees are hurting, you know? And Derrick Rose has talked about wanting to walk when his son graduates high school, you know? And so I understand why those guys quit. I'm not holding it against them. You're looking at guys like Brandon Roy, you know, quit early. But, you know, I'm not holding it against him. But you're right. Derrick Rose could have quit. He didn't. And I think he's going to be an interesting. He's been playing a lot of two guard in the preseason. The questions with him are defensive. But, you know, I bought so much Derrick Rose stock back
Derrick
in
Rose.
Chicago. You're right.
Before the knee injuries.
I do play like Derrick Rose. Before the knee injuries. Okay, so let's recap. Warriors, Rockets, Thunders, Lakers, locks for me.
My locks
Who are your
were
locks?
Warriors, Lakers, Jazz, Rockets, Spurs, Thunder.
Okay. Now who do you have 1 through 8? Gun to your head. Who are the 8 teams that are going to make it?
Warriors is the 1 seed. Lakers, Jazz, Rockets, Spurs, Thunder, Pelicans, and Mavs coming in at the 8 seed.
Okay. Those are your 8. Gun to your head. Those are your 8 teams. For me, gun to my head, 8 teams. I'm going Warriors, Rockets, Thunders, Lakers, Spurs, Jazz, Nuggets. Gun to my head, huh? I'm just going to say Portland just because they made it. Every year Dame was there. Gun to my head, Portland. But I'm really shaking in my shoes.
Yeah.
Gun to my head. But yeah, that's who we have in the Western Conference.
I'm actually surprised you don't have the Lakers up higher.
Well, I didn't really necessarily put them in order. I think they're in the 3rd or 4th. I think they'll have a shot at the 2nd seed, but I realistically have them 3rd or 4th. I think the Rockets actually might end up disappointing people and might end up 4th, and the top 3 will be Warriors, Thunders, Lakers. Because the Thunder added a lot of guys, a lot of good role players. It's really going to come down to Russ if he lets these guys do what they do, like Dennis Schroeder. But I think they're going to have I think they're going to be a great regular season team, but not that great.
Yeah, because when it comes to playoffs, it's a lot about coaching and stuff as well. Regular season, everyone just flies by it. But yeah, I actually think the Rockets are going to disappoint a lot of people. Not because of their talent, but I think their mentality. I think they are going to realize what happened with the Warriors happened kind of to them last season. Remember the Warriors when we got the regular season, best record ever and everything like that, but we just had nothing left come playoffs. And I think that's the same thing that happened with Houston. It was just running and gunning, and obviously it caught up to CP3, and I think now they're going to really pace themselves.
Yeah, it was a bummer what happened to the Rockets. That was the year to do it. Last year was the year to do it. Chris Paul went down, and then they went cold. So do you think them going cold, they missed like 20 straight threes? Do you think that was because they were A, fatigued, B, Chris Paul wasn't on the floor, or C, they just don't have it?
Like they always say, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. And I give them credit. They don't change. Their game plan was all the way up on we're going to shoot threes no matter what. I think they really did miss CP3 down the stretch because I think CP3 obviously would have definitely like took control of that. I feel like James Harden. I like James Harden as a person, but I feel like James Harden is at his best when there's no pressure and the Rockets have a really good lead, like a big lead. I feel like he's not good at bringing them back. Like if they're down, he's kind of like fading in the background for sure. And CP3 is the type that like, nah, I'm gonna rally up the troops. Let's go.
Yeah, so you think more they miss CP3 out there. I think there's a slight possibility that they just don't have it in them. I was at the watch party for that game, and I just remember saying their buttholes tight.
It definitely could be. Tight buttholes.
They just couldn't hit a shot, you know? You know how when you put up the three like this, like kind of like the OK emoji? I was doing it like this. I closed the thumb and the pointer finger, and I was like, "Yep, 3 ball." Because that's what I saw, and I was a little inebriated in the watch party, but they might not have it. It was a bummer what happened to them, but I do think you still have them as a lock, but you think they're gonna
disappoint because I think they're gonna be much smarter. They're gonna save themselves. I think that's the reason why they brought Carmelo in. Like, hey man, regular season, do your thing. Get your buckets.
Okay, so there you guys go. Those were our way too early Western and Eastern Conference playoffs predictions. Just to recap one more time, 8 teams gun to your head in the East. And we're doing this so that you guys could pull this sound clip and rub it in our face if we get it wrong. Gun to our head in the East. For me, Celtics, Sixers, Raptors, Pacers, Wizards, Bucks, Heat, Pistons,
Boston, Sixers, Raptors, Bucks, Pacers, Heat, Cavs, and Pistons.
All right, and I got in the West, Warriors, Rockets, Thunder, Lakers, Spurs, Jazz, Nuggets, Portland.
Warriors, Lakers, Jazz, Rockets, Spurs, Thunder, Pelicans, and then the Mavs.
All right, so there you guys go. That's our way too early playoff predictions. Be sure to follow the All NBA podcast on the Apple iTunes podcast app as well as Google Play. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, which will be a link will be in the episode summary. That's where we do the live version of this show with the subscribers. If you have a hot NBA take that you want to say on air, go ahead, subscribe to that channel. Put notifications on. You'll be alerted when we go live. Anything you want to say, Ray? This was your first official episode.
Yes. I have a weird feeling about the Phoenix Suns.
Weird in a good way.
That boy, right? Devin Booker, that boy bad.
Yeah. Devin Booker.
If I had to put up a shocker up there, I would say the Suns could make the playoffs. That's like super dark horse. Like
on a scale of 1 to 100%, what's the probability that Devin Booker is a good stats, bad team guy?
Good stats. Oh, you mean like he's the new Kevin Love?
Or like Steve Francis.
Stevie Franchise?
Yeah.
That was dope.
Good stats, bad team. I think there's a 60% probability that Devin Booker's a good stats, bad team.
I'll probably go 90.
Could you see Devin Booker just carrying his squad to the Western Conference? Not now, but like
can. I think.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't know if he has he has something going on where he wants to fight everybody. I don't know if they're making fun of him or something, but he's like almost all his clips, he's fighting somebody. Yeah. They must be saying something to him, man. Yeah. But I can see him in probably a good 2-3 years being like one of the top 5 guys in the NBA.
Yeah, and they got a good 5 guys. They need a point guard is what they need. And they just fired their GM. So we're going to see if they can get a good point guard or someone can surprise us there. I think the Suns can fight for that A seed. I mean, I had them as definitely not going to make it just because I think they're not ready for it.
I thought about that too initially, but then I was like, I don't know, man. That kid's dope, bro.
The coach is unproven too. Yeah. He might be good.
But Phoenix Suns for sure.
All right. Okay, guys. that pretty much takes care for us. Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel with the link in the episode summary. And subscribe to the All NBA podcast. We'll catch you in the next one. I think the season will start by the time we do this again, right? When does the season start?
October 16th.
October 16th. Oh, so we'll probably do one more episode before the season starts. And then we'll come back and we'll do our first impressions. By the time we get on a third episode, enough teams will have played and we'll do our first impressions.
Plan.
All right. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.